Don't underestimate your drugs. Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's no one, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report was sent in by Aero. When this happened, July 5th, 2019, the drugs used were diphenhydramine and alcohol at a dose of 2,500 milligrams. The route of administration was orally through pills. Gender, male. Weight, about 240 pounds. Age, 18. Height, 6 feet. Prior experience, weed, cigarettes, dip, cigars, pipe, synthetic weed, alcohol, DXM, Xanax, once, impure ecstasy, cut with an upper, once, and LSD. The set, getting fucked up the day after, the 4th, and the settings, a playground park, inside a car, a neighborhood, his room, and an ambulance and hospital for his friends. And as for his friends, there is friend S, which we'll call Robot. He's 18 years old, about 180 pounds, and his prior experience includes weed, cigarettes, alcohol, DXM, LSD, Molly, and definitely a lot more. And the other friend, friend C, we'll call him Purple, 17-year-old male, about 150 pounds, and his prior experience includes weed, cigarettes, alcohol, LSD, shrooms, meth, once, and probably a tad more. So this is a pretty detailed benadryl report with a lot that goes down in the hallucinated world and the real physical world. There is a careless attitude they have going into this, severely underestimating the strength of the dose they were taking. So to say the least, the night doesn't go exactly as planned. So I'm sure you guys will like this one, and without further ado, let's dive right into this. The following is an edit of a trip report that I originally posted to Reddit on r/dph on 9/23/19. This was the first out of 2 times I've done DPH yet. This happened the day after the 4th of July this year. A few weeks before, my friend Robot and I got drunk and he suggested tripping on benadryl, but I decided not to buy any that night and looked it up when I went home and sobered up. I decided it was stupid and dysphoric, so I didn't want to do it. But on this night, I went out and drank with him. We had a pint of Steel Reserve, 8.1% malt liquor each, and he also stole a bottle of Chardonnay that he drank about half of while I had a couple sips. We picked up another friend, Purple, and then Robot went and stole a 6-pack of Jack Daniel's screwdrivers, like 15% malt in normal-sized glass bottles, presumably around 10 to 12 fluid ounces, and also 3 100 pill bottles of Benadryl, 25 milligrams each. Drunk, I had completely forgotten any information about tripping on DPH and was too lazy to look up anything, including dosing. So all 3 of us had our 2 drinks and downed the bottles as if it was fucking DXM or some shit. Our drunk logic being that he tripped on 900 milligrams last time and it was good, so a little less pet more would be better. And 2,500 wasn't that much more than 900, somehow. Stupid drunk logic. So we finished our drinks at the park, lit off some fireworks, blew up the toilets, and pulled off. As we were driving around, the DPH started to come on. Purple ended up passing out in the back seat. Robot was asking me to take him to Kroger to steal more alcohol, but I wasn't feeling well, so I decided to pull off to one of our hangout spots to try and feel the high out as I began tripping, as with other drugs. But this time, it just kept getting worse, and eventually at one point, I felt the urge to take a piss, just randomly and really strongly. I opened the door to step out, but I didn't make it. I ended up pissing my pants in the driver's seat of my own car. At this point I realized, oh shit, it's one of these kinds of drugs. I gotta get the fuck home. If I at least get back to my house, my parents can help the other 2 home. On the way back down the highway, there was someone sitting in the middle of the turning lane, and our mirrors collided. Mine broke off and was holding on for dear life by the wires. Another car came up behind us. Robot and I highly assumed it was the people we just hit, but I was in no position to step out and give them information. We ended up 500 feet away from them, falling into the road incoherent. All that was on my mind was to get home before I'm too far gone. I start speeding down back to my neighborhood, and I end up missing the turn. So I turn onto another road and attempt to turn around. But I end up getting lost again, and at one point hit a curb and jump up into the air. At one point, my friend and I hear my dog talking from the back seat, and we both turned around and asked him, "Mammoth, did you just say something?" And he looks us dead in the eyes and in a very deep, distinguished, white American voice says, "Yes," and nods. Robot and I look at each other and just scream, "What the fuck?" Eventually, we end up in a cul-de-sac and I'm unable to turn my car around. At which point, my other friend, who I decided to call Purple for some reason, awakens in the back seat and we exit the vehicle. We start wandering around the people's houses and doing some random shit that I don't remember. It's nighttime, but I can see less than usual and everything felt smaller in scale, like my surroundings felt claustrophobic, even outside. Everyone has to go off and take a piss a lot, but I still end up pissing my pants again, this time standing in the middle of the road near my fucking truck. All three of us end up being acquainted with the head of Stonewalk and fall into the ground 7 billion times with every step. I end up leaving my jacket in the car and my phone in someone else's yard, and I end up separated from my friends. But before this, I kept seeing my parents' cars driving around, and I thought I tried to get in with them, but they weren't because my parents didn't know what was going on until the morning. So my dog ends up leading me away from my friends and tries to get us home. At this point, I have him on the leash. After this, all three of us were blacked the fuck out. I hear later that my friend Robot, the one who suggested we trip to begin with, knocks on someone's door and wakes them up and asks them to call 911 because he felt like he was dying. Eventually, I come to when the sun rises, and I've made it back to the main road, and I'm walking down the middle of the turning lane. I remember having my jacket on, but I have actually no idea if I had it or not. But I remember smoking on the way home, so I'm not sure. I remember listening to music, but as previously stated, I had lost my phone on someone's yard, so that was a complete figment of my imagination. Around 6 in the morning, my dog and I make it back around to my part of the neighborhood, but I'm still a few streets down. I remember thinking I was at a party with my friends or something at some of the houses. One of them I thought was my manager's house, but she doesn't live near me. At one point, I ended up actually getting triple vision, like the red, green, and blue everywhere, like on acid, and I was so happy, but it didn't last long. I kept going through people's backyards and shit, and kept walking down the road, trying to find my house. Eventually, I find a house that I believe is mine, but I remember noticing that something was different and being weirded out that something changed. But I went inside anyways and took my dog off the leash and put it down. At some point, I thought I got locked out of my own house, so I started walking around again, hopefully never having entered a house at all and just throwing my dog's leash on a random place on the ground. So I begin walking again. A small black car drives by, and I remember freaking out, thinking it was my ex. I hear her dad yell out from the passenger seat, "You motherfucker, I fucking hate you, I fucking hate you. What the fuck did you do to my daughter? What the fuck did you do to my daughter?" I stumbled back with my hands in the air and yelled back, "Yo, chill man, I didn't do fucking shit to her, I didn't do fucking shit." And then they drove away. But I spent the rest of my walk home scared out of my mind, avoiding every black car, even freaking out over one that always sits at this one house. Eventually, I make it back on my own street, even though my dog's not on a leash. I go up to a random house and try and open the door. It doesn't open, so I knock. No one opens the door, so I turn and try the next house. I take one step down the stairs to their porch, and suddenly I'm on the ground on my face. I lift my right arm and it's covered in pebbles and road ash. I, oh shit, and stand up and start walking down further to my actual house. My car's home, but I think nothing of it. After locating my home, my dog and I go around the back and go up to the garage where I discover my parents, who ask me what's going on. They tell me my friends were picked up by an ambulance and the police called them about my car. My friend Robot was found in the grass, and my friend Purple was found on the road. Robot, despite requesting the ambulance, proceeds to have an altercation with the medical staff and police. That is how he explained it. They were both taken to the ICU and diagnosed with rhabdomyolysis, a condition which after the diphenhydramine is metabolized in the liver, it turns into this chemical that breaks down your muscles. The small dude who wore a hat with a purple dragon on it had 2 drinks and was in there until the next Friday. Robot, who had more to drink, was in there until next Sunday, a whole 10 days. But my parents came up to me like, "Did you and your friends do fucking PCP?" They said they were on PCP when the ambulance got them. I said, "Hell no, we downed bottles of benadryl." I remember my mom telling my dad I was completely out of it, but they believed me. They let me go to my room, wherein I tried to sleep. Here's where shit got really fucking psychotic. They had me take a shower, and I thought I watched YouTube while taking a shit, but left my phone in the bathroom. I told them to call my phone because I couldn't find it. I heard it ring. My mom looked and said it wasn't there. But after they left me, I kept finding it in my covers. Whenever I would try and use it, as soon as I got to an app, I began to see through it to my hand and it would fall out. I would find it again and try and plug it in, but it would fall to the floor. Whenever I checked the floor, all that I could pick up was my charger. This repeated a multitude of times. I kept having to jump out of my bed and slap my body because I thought ants were crawling on me. I kept seeing spiders crawl out of dents in my wall. I checked later. These were not holes. At one point, one crawled out of an actual hole in my ceiling and started making a web. It scared me, but I didn't do anything about it. At various points, I thought my friends were with me in my room. I saw my friend Purple sitting in my office chair, but I knew he was at the hospital, and when I got up to check, the chair was empty. I heard my fan talk with the voice of a friend I first smoked weed with. I just kept hearing voices of friends saying random shit in there for a while, and it felt like I was fucking insane. I think one of my personalities even started talking, like it was more separate and probably went off about dark shit. God damn it, Echo. My aunt, who stays over at my house frequently to help my parents clean, actually came in to check on me a few times and gave me a honey bun to eat. I took one bite, but when I looked at it again, it was covered in ants. So next time she came in, she threw it away for me. Eventually I got a couple hours of sleep, and I woke up at 10. I came to the conclusion that, welp, I'm probably not going to be on time for work if I fall asleep again, since it was in 5 hours. So I started to put my uniform on, but my parents saw me walk out with it, and they said no, we're calling the store phone and getting you called out. So I went back to bed and woke up in the afternoon. I stopped tripping, but I was still faded as fuck. I ended up having a hangover for a full-on week, longer than my first time doing DXM and worse than acid. That evening, my dad gave my phone back, and my arm swelled up and I thought it was broken. The next day, my mom took me to the hospital and I got an x-ray and a head scan to see if I broke my arm from the fall or got a concussion or any contusions from all the falling headfirst onto concrete. I ended up not having anything serious, just having a nasty wound that I still have a scar for. The head, my doctor said, literally, quote, just massive levels of dipshit in front of my mother. And after telling them about what my friends had, they ran a test on me and said my liver was fucked up, but that might be just alcoholism, so check back in a week. Never did. Robot got into some drama once he got home afterwards. He got sent off to fight in World War III, then dropped off the edge of the earth for an entire year. Purple's mom still has only let me hang out with him once after this. This paragraph is new and exclusive to the email, and not in my original Reddit post a couple months ago. That night had a very stressed panic feeling to it. The morning after the blackout had more of an adventurous feel to it before I got home, but I just kept getting scared by everything. When I did get home, of course, how fucked the night had ended up dawned on me, and of course the delirium psychosis scared me. DPH doesn't need to be explored in doses above 1500, period, at all. There's your Aero. Anything else is blackout and possible damage. My friend Purple still has uneven muscles on his arm 4 months later. Always practice drugs safely. Make sure you know what you're taking, the effects, possible harmful side effects, and dosage. Make sure they aren't cut with anything harmful or don't have added harmful ingredients if it's store-bought. This trip fucked me up. I get jittery on drop if I'm even taking 2 benadryl for allergies. Just tasting those pills. If I take a double dose to sleep, mentally I flip out and I freeze. I see nothing, of course, but I end up not being able to move to even turn off my lamp or plug my phone in the charger. Too long, didn't read, from original posting. Got drunk on July 5th. Friends stole 3 Benadryl bottles. We took the whole thing each. Couldn't drive home. Pissed my pants twice. They OD'd and got picked up by the ambulance. I got saved from ODing because I'm fat and my dog took me home. Got lost in my own neighborhood on the way there and thought my ex's dad was going to kill me for touching his daughter. Then me and my friends all went psycho and saw each other even though we were in different rooms. All sustained injuries. One friend is going to the army now over this. One friend still can't hang out with me. Ending note from Aero. Be careful with your drugs, y'all. DPH is funky shit. DXM and LSD are a lot better trips. Don't underestimate your drugs. Try and do drugs you've never done before, sober too.